I made an expandable kitchen island and then I decided to make another one, mainly just because I was bored with the first one. I started by cutting some plywood down to size and then taking the corners off with my jigsaw where the legs would go. The back and the sides of this island are made from 1x12 red oak. I just attached everything with wood glue and pocket hole screws. These beautiful wooden legs came from Amazon and they are exactly what I had pictured for this island. Those were also attached with pocket holes. Luckily, the old island was still there because it came in really useful at this point, and so did my husband, even though he wasn't really excited about me getting rid of the old island he loved.
Really like lift and twist. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Told you. It's deceiving.
Nice. You're lucky I was here.
So lucky.
Okay, bye.
And this is where the soft people on the internet freaked out on him.
Fine. Leg. Leg. Hey, leg. Jeez, Louise.
So this is going to be the width of the countertop that comes out.
This?
Mm-hmm.
Ha!
Is that going to be a problem?
Hell yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's useless.
It's only like 8 inches shorter than mine.
Okay. For the record, I love this island. And if you make one that's less useful than this island, I'm gonna give you shit about it. As long as we have it. Just so you know. Now, you could do a leaf style. If you do one that wings open, you could make it way more complicated. You could still do the drop down where it picks up.
I can't do that.
You don't want to do that.
No, you'll have like a random side that goes to the ground.
Why don't you have one that comes out of the ceiling? It just lowers, like you
So great idea.
you clap and then just an extra island drops down.
Yeah.
I know that's what you were going to ask me next.
Yeah. So pretty though.
Is it?
So I had a little bit of problem solving to do. But in the meantime, this is what it was looking like, and I was so excited because I could see it coming together. And then it was time to get the old island taken apart and drug out the door. But not before I got hit on the head. Luckily, it didn't hurt too bad, and then we were ready to get the new island set up.
So I was brainstorming with a neighbor. I didn't realize until he pointed it out. This is the side that it's going to expand from, and this is the side of the drawers. I meant to have the drawers over here where they were before because I had the oven mitts in here, and we have the oven right here. But I can just add the oven mitts here. I figured it'd be fine because you'll be able to see the drawers from this side and they'll be pretty, so whatever. Totally didn't mean to do that. What do you think? If this is your island, would you put drawers on this side or that side?
And thanks to a lot of helpful comments from y'all, I decided what I was going to do to fix the narrow countertop issue. I ended up taking some chunks out of the legs so that way the countertop could be a little bit wider. I used my circular saw to do this and it ended up working out perfectly. And then it was time for the face frame for this island. I'm using 1x2 red oak for this. My vision for this island was a dark wood and I decided to go with Spice Brown by Duracell. It's such a beautiful color. And then of course you want to seal it.
Okay, so here are the runners that I put for the the inside countertop to run on, and you will be able to see them from the front, but these are going to be drawers, so I don't really care. This is what the hinges look like that I used. I'm gonna have this all stained, and there's the leg. Okay, I just added a third runner for the leg, and I also added this piece in the front. This will only show when it's open, so let's see if that works.
I like to do my builds piece by piece so I can figure it out as I go.
Well, it works. Now I just need stoppers.
And this is what it looks like from the inside when you open and close it.
Okay, I added stoppers right here and here. Whenever you pull this out of the way, it keeps it from coming out all the way where it's not going to fall.
And then I needed to add some supports to the inside to give myself something to attach the drawer slides to. You can see I'm using a 1x2 as a spacer and then I'm connecting it with pocket holes.
Shit. That's gonna live in there forever.
I didn't even think about how I was gonna get the 1x2 out.
Okay, that's staying.
I just decided to leave it in there. It wasn't worth trying to get it out. Then I used more spacers to attach the next support.
Okay, I got the first drawer slide installed. They're super easy. I just made spacers. I use spacers for everything. And then I will put this right here and I'm gonna remove this piece. I just screw it into place and then remove the spacer and we're good to go.
I've used a bunch of different drawer slides, and these are the best ones that I've found for soft close. The brand name is Lantern. I made sure the drawer sides were flush with the front of the face frame. And then I got to work building drawers. The way I like to build them is with wood glue and brad nails. These are a lot stronger than you think they'd be. I've never had an issue with them. Also, this is 1/2-inch sanded plywood. This thickness works great with small to medium drawers. And then you can edge band the top of them so the plywood edge won't show. And then I got my drawer sides installed on the drawers and the drawers installed. I will say I had a little bit of an issue with the left one. It was a little bit tight, so I had to take it apart and shave a little bit off and put it all back together. Luckily that worked perfectly and both drawers worked great. For the drawer fronts, I picked up some more 1x12 red oak and then I routed the edges so that way they'd be nice and fancy. I love my router, but it is so messy. As far as installing the drawer fronts, I just kind of eyeballed it and make sure it was level, and then I shot some brad nails into the front of it and then used screws from the back to make sure it was nice and sturdy. I'm using the same gold hardware that I have in the rest of my kitchen cabinets. That way, even though the kitchen island is a different color, it'll still be cohesive and flow together well. The pulls I had on hand were 2 different sizes, so I actually needed to borrow one from my other kitchen drawer while I waited on the other one to be delivered. That way the island could be considered done. Now, I don't want it to be obvious that this island expands, so I'm putting an end piece on it so that way it'll look the same as the other side. I also installed this with wood glue and brad nails, and then I took it off and added some 90-degree brackets so that way it's nice and secure. This will help prevent that end piece from getting loose whenever we use the expandable countertop over time. This butcher block countertop is just temporary for now, but I wanted to test it out to make sure it all worked. And it works! Look how nice and smooth that is. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the leg is made of red oak as well. And now to do something about that countertop. This is actually also temporary until I can get all the countertops in my kitchen replaced along with the island, but for now we're going to try some epoxy. It's recommended to put the epoxy on MDF, so I'm cutting a countertop down from that. Have I mentioned how messy the router is? I'm using stone coat countertops because I heard they're the best and I wanted to test them out for myself. I wiped the MDF down with a tack cloth and then I rolled on the epoxy undercoat. Once that dried for the allotted amount of time, I mixed together the epoxy resin and then added some coloring into it and then got to work. I was trying to go for the Taj Mahal style countertop, but I don't think it turned out like that at all. But I did try to use those colors. This was the first time mixing color into epoxy for me. Last time I did this with my kitchen countertops, I painted the countertops and then put clear epoxy over it. You can see a minute ago, I poured the white epoxy on first and spread it around with my gloves, and then I mixed in the brown, and that's what I'm pouring over right here. I did a few different shades of brown. I know this is looking really scary right now, but just hear me out. I saw a video on YouTube where she kind of did this method and she poured it all out in harsh lines like this and spread it around with a roller. That's what I'm doing next, and I know it doesn't look much better. I was pretty worried at this stage, so I ended up pouring some more white back on it to try to lighten it up. I've actually never really been a fan of working with epoxy, but this was kind of fun. Here I even mixed some diamond dust with some clear and added that to it as well to make it look like stone. The brown wasn't sticking to the sides very well, so I tried to add a little bit more with the roller. After 24 hours, it was ready for a good sanding with 220 grit sandpaper and then the top coat. I'm using a matte top coat because I didn't want this to be shiny. It goes on milky and dries clear. This was a whole kit from Stone Coat Countertops. And here's a reminder of the old island. It had a trash can drawer, a drawer with a hidden drawer in it, and a spice drawer. And of course it expanded. This one was a lot more difficult to build than the new one. But if it's something you like to build, you can find the woodworking plans for it at Aston's Wood Shop on Etsy. Now for the reveal of the new countertop on the new island. I am kind of in love. I actually really love how this one expands compared to the last one. I will eventually get the woodworking plans for this one up on my Etsy shop as well. And here's an up close of what the side looks like when it's closed. What do you think about the countertop? My daughter thinks it looks like a roasted marshmallow and my husband thinks it looks like the top of a cappuccino. Even though I can't wait to get some real quartz or some kind of white stone on here one day, I really loved this experiment. I think the epoxy was a lot of fun. Have you worked with epoxy before? If so, what would you have done different? And because I know people will ask, we did end up moving the oven mitts to the left of the oven, and in the left drawer here we have dishcloths, and the right drawer we have butcher paper and foil. You just can't stack anything past the top of the drawer.